Your web page ranks on page 1 of Google. The backlinks are real, and the traffic numbers are solid. But when a potential buyer asks Copilot or Perplexity to recommend a tool in your category, your brand does not appear. This gap in visibility persists even for authoritative content. The failure occurs because the machine's process for reading a page differs entirely from how a human evaluates it. When an LLM retrieves your page, it ingests the raw HTML. It isn't looking at your design or your flow. It is parsing a sequence of tokens. To make sense of those tokens, the model relies on probability. It analyzes the surrounding text to infer who wrote the page, when it was published, and which entity owns the information. This inference process introduces a specific margin of error if the relationships between your brand and your claims are not explicitly defined in the code. The retrieval pipeline breaks down under the weight of that uncertainty. That statistical error is the reason high-ranking pages are frequently omitted from generative responses. It also explains why an AI might confidently attribute your primary product feature to a direct competitor. Without a structural anchor, the model fills the identity void with the next most probable context. Recent data shows how successful brands are bypassing this uncertainty. In a study of ChatGPT's Citations, 71% of the cited pages shared a hidden layer of structured data. For Google's AI overviews, the requirement is nearly identical, with 65% of cited sources utilizing that same structural layer. In March 2025, engineers from Microsoft, Bing, and Google confirmed they stated that their models now actively use structured data to interpret web content and ground their generative system. These confirmations redefine the role of Schema, relying on natural language processing to project your brand identity is a high-risk strategy. To guarantee extraction, deterministic structured data has become a mandatory prerequisite. To understand why this structure is so effective, we have to look at how LLMs extract data at scale. A 2024 Nature Communications study found that achieve significantly higher accuracy when retrieving facts from predefined structured fields compared to unstructured prose. Schema effectively provides a pre-filled structural form for the engine, removing the need for the model to guess at the meaning of a paragraph. This efficiency is integrated directly into the architecture of modern AI search through a process called modality-aware routing. Modality-aware routing splits a user prompt into two pathways. The text pathway hits a wall of prose, forcing the system to process every token with high computational. The structured pathway bypasses tokens entirely, snapping into a JSON object for exact data extraction. Organization schema serves as the foundation for this JSON structure, establishing the baseline for your brand's presence in the retrieval pool. This specific markup defines exactly who your entity is before the model even begins to evaluate your content. The same as array is the most critical component. By listing your official LinkedIn profile, your Crunchbase page, or your G2 listing, you provide the model with external nodes to verify your identity. This requires a definitional approach to the description field. Stating what your company actually does allows for precise entity alignment, while flowery marketing copy creates new opportunities for inference. Without an organization schema to provide this verification, the LLM is forced to reconstruct your brand's identity from the context of adjacent pages. Beyond identity, AI engines prioritize citations based on recency and verified authorship, details that are often buried within standard text. Article schema creates a structural mechanism for the end to see your exact timeline and your credibility markers. For example, a missing date modified field can cause an engine to treat a frequently updated guide as if it were years old, making it less likely to be cited for fast-moving topics. The author URL field serves a similar function. It links the content to a distinct person entity with verifiable credentials rather than a simple text string. Once your authority is established, the next step is formatting your information for direct extraction. For conversational search, FAQ schema maps directly to the way these models retrieve and present answers. It prepackages your content into explicit question and answer pairs, allowing the system to cite your answer without having to parse your prose. For procedural queries, How to Schema provides a similar structural advantage. It takes a complex process and labels every individual step. As a distinct, extractable unit, this explicit labeling prevents the model from having to guess where one instruction ends and the next begins within a long article. For this system to work, the markup must perfectly match the visible text on the page. Discrepancies lead to model distrust, which can result in the source being ignored entirely. Implementing all of these layers formats your data into the exact structural modalities, and LLM is programmed to retrieve. These individual data points are organized by breadcrumb-less schema, which signals where a page lives within the broader architecture of your domain. The architectural binding agent that connects these blocks is the @graph syntax. By using @graph to link an article to an organization, you signal that the page is part of a deliberate topical cluster rather than a standalone low-authority post. However, even a perfect technical implementation has its limits. Schema cannot compensate for a lack of domain authority, weak claim density, or a total absence of backlinks. AI models select from a pool of trusted sources. Schema improves the extractor-deli of your content, but it does not expand the pool of sources the model trusts. Clean JSON-LD will not trigger a citation if the underlying content is thin and lacks external validation. Because Schema acts as an efficiency layer for high-value content, the rollout should focus on the pages with the highest potential impact. Step 1. Deploy organization schema on your homepage to establish your identity. Step 2. Activate breadcrumbs site-wide. Then update article schema on top-performing posts to make their authority visible. Step 3. Add FAQ and how-to schemas to guide answering procedural questions. This technical foundation is the primary defense against AI hallucinations. These errors are rarely creative. They are the result of a model filling a data void with probability. Engineering your data ensures that you maintain control over your brand's extracted truth. If an LLM is currently inferring your identity from unstructured prose, whose identity are you actually projecting?